Hi, Howie here. It's a quick edition of Howie on Site. I thought I should tell you what on site means. I spell it SIGHT, on hyphen site. Not SITE, as in the location, but site as in what you see. And it's a climbing term. It means when a climber, a rock climber, now an Olympic sport, an indoor climber, climbs a route on rope or a problem boulder, that's the shorter climbs with no rope, without any information of the holds or the sequences or how things shall, the body positioning. And it's considered like you'll have an on-site grade, and that's your ability. What ability can you climb on site without any preparation? You can study the hold from the climb from a distance and imagine. In fact, many advanced climbers do that. They move their body in a way that as if they're on the wall when they're not, and it's really beautiful. So I coach climbing, and when I say coach, I always want to establish what I mean by what my role in coaching. And I tell people quite often that the number one role for a coach is to keep somebody from quitting. Because if you're not in the sport, then you can't get better. So the primary thing is to keep them in the arena, keep them in the playground. If your child refuses to interact with children, you can talk to them about socialization all you want, but unless they're in the arena with other children, they can't socialize. And it's the same with sports. We have to be in the arena of life if we want to get better. So, and if you have never done anything before, you have no choice but to do it on site. You have to use what you can before the actual action takes place to predict the consequences. And this is really the battle of humanity, right? Because God only knows what's going to happen. And we walk around this earth as if we know what's going to happen. And we have our plans. Old friend of mine, Brother Jim, used to always say, plan and pencil, right? You better have a good eraser, right? There's a Bible verse in James about the arrogant planning for tomorrow when who knows if tomorrow even comes. So to walk around on site is really what we're doing every day. And even if we've climbed the climb, we've never climbed it that day in that particular condition. And, in this world of ever quickening media and data and communication, I talk about shorts and TikTok, and, it makes me think about words. I love words. But it's not the words, it's the concept the words are connected to. And it's not just the concept in the brain, in the mind, in the heart, but the concept that is united to God, God's mind. So God has ideas. Plato. This is very much in the school of Plato. God has ideas. We have concepts of those ideas in our brain. And then we name them and we speak about them. And, if you think about our world right now, a hook, right? I want to create a hook for this video, right? I'm going to come up with something. I'm going to make it all caps. I'm going to put an exclamation point on it. You know what we need to do? We need to pull some George Costanza moments and do exactly the opposite. And I thought, what's the opposite of a hook? I can't think of a physical item that's the opposite of a hook. I was tempted to say needle, but needle is actually like kind of similar, right? But if you think of the verb to hook, then to release. I want to release you today. I don't want to hook you. I want to release you. I want to release myself from this world. Does that mean I want to leave this world? No. I want to release myself and anybody else who wants to go on this journey with me from the concerns that we shouldn't be concerned about. Likes, subscribers, people's opinions of us, bickering about who takes the garbage out, right? These are the concerns that we should not be occupied with. The other thing is trending. What's trending? It's trending. And then we begin to, instead of create trends, we follow trends, right? And every great motivational essence is about being ahead of the curve, right? Growth mindset. You're always ahead. You're pushing the boundaries. It's the opposite of trending, right? You're creating the trend, but we're all trending. We're following, And I thought, what's the opposite of trending? To die. To fade away. To shrink. These are not terms you want to hear in a motivational speech, right? But you know what? It's the ultimate motivational speech. To release and to disappear. To release what doesn't matter. The trivial. The bickering. The lack of gratitude. The need to be right. The need for people to like you. Money, power, likes. Our likes. We have to release our likes. And to disappear. You know, I remember many years ago, I'm an intellectual snob. And just by saying intellectual snob, I'm using the word intellectual, which shows I'm a snob because I'm calling myself an intellectual. I'm a joker, right? In many ways, a clown, right? I would say holy fool, but then I'd be using the word holy, and that's again a compliment. I'll just go with fool and a clown. So I used to always have to read books that were, written before I was born, or they weren't significant, as if nobody alive could write anything significant. And if I read anything about Christianity, it had to be from a saint or some established spiritual figure. And there was a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. And I'm Catholic. And this was a book written by, I believe, an evangelical Christian, United States. And this new movement that I looked down on. And I thought, these guys, they just want to sell books, right? And he had this Purpose-Driven Life, and it was a huge bestseller. And one day I was in Walmart in Maine, and I saw it on the cheap pile, and I bought it. And honestly, I really bought it I'm going to read this book as if, I want to know what the little people are thinking, right? Because I'm so sophisticated, I'm so advanced. I'm so hooked on myself, right? I'm trending my own trend, right? I'm playing God. So I read this book, and you know what? I think it was the best book on Christianity I ever read. And there was one line in it, and it was something like this. The closer you get to God, the less you need to self-promote. Right? The closer you get to God, the less you need to self-promote. Let's boost this YouTube video. Let's send it out, right? Let's put up advertising. I looked up advertising. Advertising has been around since the Egyptian times. It's interesting. And Renaissance Italian printers, and then with the printing press, it really took off, obviously, right? And to advertise, to put a little name on everything, to promote. And now we're at the place where it's really just not even about an object or an item. What we do is promote our name and our brand. We are a brand. We're a walking brand. And then we wonder why we have identity crises in our culture. Why people they don't know who they are. They need to redefine themselves. So today, I want to talk about releasing. And if this sounds pessimistic, it's not. Because you know what? When you release and you disappear and you die to yourself, you begin to live. When you see something beautiful, you don't need to capture it. You just experience it. When you have a great thought, you don't have to record it or write it down or tweet it. You just live it. I also want to talk about marriage. I want to talk about the marriages that we don't talk about. We will have to talk about all the fringe issues. The 1% that does this, or the percentage of marriages that are heterosexual at this point, that are in Hollywood and they break up. I want to talk about the marriages that we never talk about. The ones that last 30, 40, 50 years. You know how hard it is? And if you're married, you know what I'm talking about. But there is nothing better in the human sense under the realm of God except God himself. And God made marriage, made a man and woman. And they shall become one flesh. There's nothing better than your partner, your spouse, your other half having your back. When you know push comes to shove, they got you. That they believe in you. that they love you. And it's not a love that's incentivized. They're not looking for something. Does it happen? These marriages happen. My parents had that kind of marriage. I remember as a kid, I thought it was normal to walk in and see parents like slow dancing in the living room. And they used to do that, My father was nuts about my mom. And I realized, this man, he could have sent me to an Ivy League. He could have put me into special camps to become a better athlete. But he taught me how to love a woman. And I think that's what we need to do, guys. We need to release. We need to die. We need to begin to live. We need to begin to experience. We need to love. There was an old bar in Maine I used to go to, right? And the lady who ran the bar was called Turtle. And they had a big painted turtle on the wall, and underneath it said, "Dance like nobody's watching." Right? We need to dance like nobody's watching. Because maybe your child walks in and sees you dancing. And then they remember, oh, that's what it is. It's normal for a couple after 30 years to be slow dancing in the middle of the week at 3 o'clock. It's not normal. But that's the power of the hidden marriages, the power of the hidden life of Jesus. Right? We know what he did from 30 to 33. We got those 3 years down. What did he do from an infant to 30? What did Jesus do? We don't know. We know a little story when he was 12. But we have all this data, right, about life. And this man who we define time by, and whether you want to acknowledge Jesus or not, we literally define the 2024 Olympics just took place. Worldwide Olympics, 2024. 2024 for everyone. 2024 years from what? That guy's birthday. I mean, whether you want to acknowledge this guy or not, you have to say, who else in history has the entire calendar built around their day? That's a special man. I thought, was Mary and Jesus slow dancing in the afternoon? We can make love so highfalutin. But maybe it's just that kind of stuff. Remember when my dad was dying? He died of cancer. And I had a little house in Pennsylvania. He always wanted a log cabin. I got a log cabin. So he came up. He was really sick. He died young. He was 62. And he came up there, and he was like a busy guy. He was always want to be busy. So he was like half the size at this point. And he was sweeping the deck. Sweep. He was always like doing something like clean the tables or sweeping the deck. So he's sweeping the deck. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Come on, leave it. Just relax. No, he wanted. And he loved it. He always had a dream of a log cabin. He grew up a poor kid in Queens, New York. And he thought this was fantastic that one of his sons, he had 4 boys, had his log cabin as a second home. And he was not a philosopher. He was not religious. He was not the kind of guy you'd call deep. Definitely smart. Smart like street vendor smart. City smart. Street smart. And a good man, a gentleman. A decent man. You know the word decent isn't used properly? How was that steak? It was decent. But when you say when someone's decent, a person is decent, he's a good man. So we're going to leave, right? We're going to leave this log cabin. We get in the front. He's sitting in the front seat next to me. My wife and my mother in the back seat, and I'm driving. And at the time, because I'm so smart, so sophisticated, I love my notebooks, and I had to have my certain notebook with my certain pen, and I couldn't find my pen, so I blamed my wife. And so literally I start bickering with her, like, where's my pen? And we're sitting in the car waiting for the car to start. And she's behind me, my mother's behind me, my father's to the right. And as I'm bickering, embarrassing to even tell the story, my father's looking straight out the windshield, never looks over to me. And he puts his left hand onto my right forearm, like where the stick shift would be. And he says, love, just love. Right? See, we want to hook people, impress people. We want people to like us. We want to claim that, only if you write this many book, this shelf wide of books, you have significance intellectually. Love, just love. In that context, is one of the most profound things I've ever heard in my life. 3 hours of Shakespeare, 2 minutes of my dad in the car. In that context, you can't make olive oil without squeezing the olive. You have to apply pressure. Olives are interesting. You have to pick it at the right time. If you pick it too early, it won't work. If you pick it too late, it's dried up. It falls off the tree. You have to pick it at the right time. How many factors go into growing that olive? And then the only way to get the oil is to press it. And we've heard cold press, right? Cold press is better because the hot press of a factory can change the oil content. So cold press, on-site press. You've never been in that situation before, but you're a good olive because you've been raised well, because you've admitted your mistakes, because you have released, you have died in those moments where you needed to die. You've let go of world's opinion, and you're that olive, and those moments come, that cold press, and you get extra virgin olive oil, extra virgin. What's the point of saying extra virgin? Either you're a virgin or you're not. Can you be extra virgin? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's innocent. And that's what I think of today. I think of my good buddy Jesus. He's beautiful because he was innocent. There was no intention for likes, no concern for subscribers, no concern what people thought of him. He was simply love. Love, just love. Have a good day.